Hi, YouTubers. Something important, something kind of damn important. So, talk base right now, essentially, COPPA again, the Child Online Privacy Protection Act. So, yeah, this actually is still a thing. So, people might say, COPPA? Really? That still exists? Oh, yeah, still a thing, still a law on YouTube. Nice big ass YouTube like a big ass cigar. So, I want to talk right now how it was viewed back in 2019. When COPPA was first announced back in September of 2019, when it was going to hit YouTube back in 2020, we thought the end of YouTube was coming 2020. We thought by mid 2020, YouTube was going to cease to exist, just cease to exist in the fucking world in general. So, yeah, and everyone completely overreacted. I'm not saying COPPA hasn't changed YouTube. I'm not saying that haven't been changes made. I mean, videos that are made for kids are still tremendously different than videos that are not made for kids. But compared to how people viewed it back in late 2019, there is no comparison. The way people viewed it back in late 2019, people were like, if you so much as put the word toy, the word kid, the word video game in your title, you don't specifically label it for kids, you are going to automatically get mailed a $42,000 lawsuit. It was just unbelievably fucking crazy because literally it's like that's what people thought. People thought if you put the word toy or Lego or like Star Wars in your title, and you didn't mark it as made for kids, you would automatically get fined $42,000 per video, and that's just complete bullshit. So, I mean, bullshit can be bullshit, but I mean, that was complete bullshit. So, it turned out it was nothing to be that concerned about, and turned out the majority of content nowadays is actually suitable for a general audience in general. But it's really amazing because, compared to a couple of years ago, people were freaking their asses out about COPPA, and it turned out to be nothing to be that concerned about. So, kind of a classic example of how people can overreact. So, overreact in general. Anyway, pretty fucking cool. Bye.